Welcome to the Triathlon Nutrition Academy podcast. Thank you for wrapping me around your ear holes today. My guest today is joining me very late at night. She's ready to go to bed, all the way from Fort Myers in Florida, over on the Eastern time zone. And yes, she has thankfully stayed up late to talk to us tonight because she's having a cracker of a race season. And I wanted to introduce you to Christine. Welcome, Christine.
Thanks so much, Taryn.
Yay! So you've just had a smacking race at Ironman 70.3 Wisconsin, and I would love to talk to you about that, but you're also on the road for your very first Ironman at Ironman Florida in a few short weeks, so I would love to talk to you about that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So please stay awake. Have you had a coffee? A late day coffee?
No. I want to go to bed after this, so no coffee.
Yeah. Christine, side note, Christine's not a coffee drinker and wasn't a caffeine user until we got into her, but now she uses it. She's a little bit of a dabbler of the caffeine as an ergogenic aid, so maybe we could talk about that today as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we get into your awesome race performance at your 17.3 and Ironman, how did you find and fall in love with the sport of triathlon right in the beginning?
Let's see. I started doing triathlon almost 3 years ago. My first race was December of 2021, and I had been running for like 2 years before that. A friend of mine got into running, and then everyone was like, "Oh, running's bad for you. It's bad for your knees. You shouldn't do it." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, I don't really agree with that, but I was like, well, I can do some cross training, and I know how to swim, and maybe I could bike. And so then it was like, well, why not just do triathlons? And
natural progression.
Yeah, absolutely.
All is history. I love that. Running's bad, so let's just do 3 sports instead, because that makes way more sense.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Much less chance of injury when you've got 3 different things going on.
Yeah, totally. And what's your favorite part about being an age group triathlete?
A few things. The triathlon community is awesome. More
Amen.
so, I'd say, than most other sports communities I've been a part of. It's just super welcoming, and everyone wants you to join in. It keeps me active and exercising. Because otherwise I'd love to just sit on the couch and chill. And but when you have a race coming up, you've gotta put in the exercise. And I like to eat. And so, when you're doing all the exercise, you can eat more, which is a very nice bonus.
Yeah, don't we all love to eat? I don't know many people that don't love eating.
It blows my mind when people are like, "Oh, I forgot to eat lunch today." I'm like, you forgot what? I don't understand.
How did you even do that?
Yeah.
I don't understand people like that either. They obviously don't get hungry, but yeah, food probably like you, like food for me is so much more than just putting something in the pie hole to tick a box. Like there is so much emotion and joy and flavor and so much enjoyment from the art and process of eating.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. A fellow lover of food here.
Yes.
Okay, good reasons to love triathlon.
But yeah.
Yes, that has been definitely a challenge with working with you on your nutrition is how picky of an eater are you? You're like, what about this, Christine? And let's try this. And you're like, no, Taryn, I don't like avocado. And no, Taryn, I don't like that. And I'm like, oh my God, your poor mother.
Yeah. I've gotten much better, Taryn. It was rough for her when I was a kid. So you've got it easy now working with me.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. You do have a very busy life too. You're a physician, you work full time, you're a crazy cat lady, and now instead of training for 1 sport, you're training for 3.
Yep.
Like, how do you fit in all the training and exercise and eating and planning in a really busy life?
You have to have everything scheduled, and sometimes things don't happen, like, I was, supposed to do, I don't know, whatever this weekend. Didn't get the whole list done, but like the house didn't burn down. So, oh well, it'll happen next weekend.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Progress over perfection, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And so you're a very clever lady as a physician and somebody that likes the evidence base. Mm-hmm. Surely you could have figured out how to do nutrition for swim, bike, and run yourself.
Yeah, like yes, I would have had some knowledge of what to do, and like trial and error gets you a whole lot further. But, when I was first getting into triathlon and, reading online and on Facebook and whatever, and, nutrition kept coming up as like a really big thing to think about. And, you hearing horror stories of people who screwed up their nutrition terribly and were like, oh, that race is miserable. And so, I think I started with the Triathlon Nutrition Academy probably earlier in my triathlon career than most people. I hadn't even been doing triathlons for a year. I hadn't done my first 70.3 when I started with you.
Yeah, and that's the perfect time, Christine.
Well, yeah, I was like, I could trial and error a whole bunch of races and screw them up and waste a lot of time and money, or I could just go to the source and get the information. It's like, yeah, you can Google what to do for a medical condition and try a bunch of things random people say, or you could just like go to the textbook that says, well, here's what you do, and okay, let's do it. So yeah, start with good information from the beginning.
Yeah, well, I think that as well, but there are so many people that have been doing triathlon for a long time that have never even thought to get some help with nutrition. So I'm glad that you came in early, and I wouldn't even say it's early. I think that nutrition should be laid into training ASAP. The faster you can do that, the better athlete you will be long term, and the less chance you're going to F it up and get sick and injured and all those sorts of things. So maybe early, but my goal is to really just change that whole rhetoric for people that nutrition is something that they do later, and it's an investment they make way later, because the earlier you can do it, the more advantageous it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Ironman 70.3 Wisconsin you did really recently.
Yep.
What are the sorts of things that you did for your nutrition so that it worked out on the day for you? What did you do in the lead up? How did the day go? Like, give me a race report, because we haven't actually talked about it specifically yet.
Right. Back like in the spring probably, I started thinking about like what I was going to want to fuel with, and, how many carbs per hour and what products and everything. And then just, from there on in all my long rides and runs, just like testing it out and making sure I was happy with it and wasn't having gut issues, and, figuring out how much and intervals and all of that stuff. Same thing with carb loading too, like the, last few really big bike sessions beforehand, like I did my carb loading plan exactly as I was going to do it, in Wisconsin. And I looked up and was like, okay, I need to go to a Panera and a Starbucks for some of the foods I'm having. And okay, there's ones by the hotel in Madison, Wisconsin. And like, went and had that here too. And I'd already looked up that, I can get those things in Florida as well at Panama City Beach. So, with the thought that, okay, if it works in Wisconsin, then I'll do it again in Florida. So, yeah, just kind of testing out everything and making sure it all worked.
Yeah, amazing. That's really good planning, right? Forward planning to know that you can get what's on your carbohydrate loading plan wherever you are, because you love to race away.
Yes.
I remember the photo of you packing all of your carbohydrate loading stuff to go international to race. The photo of that, I was like, yes.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
And this carbohydrate loading plan that you did for this race, I haven't actually got your race report yet, because it's something that you've been tweaking and evolving and trying to really optimize lately so that we can get all the right levers in the right, doses, if you want, for you.
Yes.
How did it go? How did carb loading in this plan go?
Carb loading went really well. It was the most, I think, calories I've taken in for a carb load. I've taken in a lot of carbs, but it was a lot of calories too. And so it was like, from the time I woke up each day, I had to be thinking about, it's like when you're racing, you're like, oh, I gotta drink. It was the same thing for the 2 days of the carb loading. Oh, I've got to eat. This is the next thing. Just keep eating.
Did you love it or did you hate it? As an eater, as someone that loves to eat.
Yeah, it was. I don't know that I loved it, because it was like, oh man, I'm not quite hungry yet, but it's time to eat again. But it wasn't bad either. I wasn't like, oh no, this is too much. So yeah, no, it went well. And then, race day, I know we've talked about this, Taryn, and, I'm sure the triathlon audience is familiar with this, but, race day, I've sometimes struggled with needing to find a porta potty on the run. And so, didn't even need to think about that during this race. So,
yes.
Yes, exactly. Everything was just right. So, yeah, didn't have to waste 10
that's so
minutes
good.
pulling a wet dry suit on and off to use the porta potty.
You got to wear a two-piece if that's a problem, but the goal for you is to not need the porta potty in the run, right? That's the goal.
It worked. So, yes. I'm going to do the exact same thing for Florida.
Yes, that's really good confidence building heading into, the biggest race of your life so far. So I'm so glad that worked out. Is there anything that you'd tweak or change in your carb load? Or are you going to follow it to the T?
Pretty much going to follow it to the T. Yeah.
Yes.
10 rolls of Smarties, 2 boxes of Nerds, like one bottle of Coke. It's all very precisely written down.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. I love that when carb loading, for somebody that loves to eat, and you love sweet things, like you're very much a sweet tooth.
Oh, yes.
And, that's a challenge sometimes in day-to-day training, but carb loading, you're like, let her rip, Christine. What is it? Give it to me. We'll do it.
Yes.
I love kind of that when you allow people to have it, or even in your own mind, you're like, I'm allowed to have this. It's not something that I shouldn't have, so I'm going to eat it and then feel guilty for it. You're like, I'm allowed this and it's on the plan. The dietitian approved it.
Yep.
And then off the back of that, you're like, I actually don't kind of feel like that stuff so much anymore. Give me a big salad. Did you find that happened at all?
Yeah, a little bit. And I think especially when you're traveling, even like the day or so before you're in the airport, it's like you're generally not finding nice, healthy food anyway. And so then by the time you get home, you're like, I'm ready for something a little better.
Yeah, nice. Kind of scratches the sweet craving itch a little. Yeah. Awesome. And what about the day? 70.3 Wisconsin, how did your actual race go? And that's obviously a preparation race for Ironman. Mm-hmm. Testing out all of your race strategies on the bike, on the run for that race. Talk to me, how'd that go? And then what are you going to do for Ironman?
Yeah, race went really well. I chose to race in Wisconsin because it was cooler weather than here in Florida because I don't like the heat. So, race day itself was beautiful. Swim went great, just kind of like as expected, smooth lake swim. So, pretty easy. The bike, I live in Florida and there's no hills here where I am in Florida, and Wisconsin does have hills. That's a little challenging, but, it wasn't that bad hill-wise. It was a lot of kind of rolling undulations, but not like big, long, crazy steep climbs. So it was, again, I just had to also be thinking about nutrition because I'm not good about, I definitely don't take in nutrition going downhill, and I'm not great about doing it going uphill. And so, like, we had driven the course beforehand, and I was, like, looking for the flat spots to be like, okay, when I get here, like, I really need to make sure I'm taking in some gels and, some fluids so I don't get behind. The bike was good. I knew it wasn't going to be a super fast bike time for me because it was the hilliest bike course I've done, but, I was expecting that, so I was fine with it. And then the run, the run's my least favorite part, but it was actually an awesome run. Like I said, the weather was cooler, so it was lovely. It was my run PR, and second fastest half marathon, like including standalone half marathons. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, felt great. The energy was there. I was starting to feel a little full about halfway through, but, I knew how to troubleshoot it and figured that out. And it was great.
So good, Christine. Yay!
Absolutely.
And is there anything you can pinpoint that you can attest to not needing to go to the porta potty in your run? Is there anything that you go, that's definitely what the problem was, or making this tweak has helped me to avoid that in the run?
I don't know if I could be like, there's this one tiny little thing I've changed, but whatever, I think probably the issues were in what I was having the day or two leading up to the race. And I'm not exactly sure what I got rid of or added that fixed the problem. So that's why I'm not deviating from the plan now. I like the plan, and wherever I race, there need to be a Starbucks nearby. But, if I'm in the US, that's a pretty safe bet. They're everywhere.
So all races from here on in need to be in the US only with a Starbucks near your ACOM.
Starbucks internationally.
Yeah, we don't have the same level of Starbucks that you guys have. Like, you guys are next level Starbucks on roids. Yeah. There's looking at the menus for Christine to work out a carbohydrate loading plan. I was looking at all the different pumps and flavor options and creams, and I was just like, oh my God, this is, Starbucks on roids. We don't have that down under.
You don't have things like chocolate, cold foam, topping to, no, yeah.
Like, maybe, I couldn't tell you. I've never been to a Starbucks in Australia, but I've looked at a menu online, and I don't think we have the different levels of pumps. You can choose the number of pumps of caramel syrup, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, how many do you want? We'll do as many as you want.
Right, yeah, or like 10 different flavors of syrup. Yeah, anything.
Yeah, anything that you want, yeah. Anyway, it's an institution in the US for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, awesome confidence booster for your full distance race coming up in a few short weeks. How are you feeling about that? What do you want to do with your nutrition in the next few weeks to prepare?
I've got 2 long bike rides left, so I'm just pretty much, my bike rides leading up to this, I've been taking in, the amount of nutrition I thought I would, but kind of, some weeks I would use this product and some weeks I'd use that product, and still like adding up to the same amount of macros, but just playing with different products and sometimes using up products that I had or whatever. But like the next 2 long bikes will be like exactly what I plan to use, the exact products, the exact, timing of taking stuff in and everything. So,
yeah, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
And are you going to practice your carb load again in the next couple of weeks? One last chance?
I may or may not. It's kind of actually a pain because it'll be like 2 weekdays, and then I'd have to like go drive to Starbucks and go drive to Panera or get it delivered to the office and spend extra money on delivery fees. So I don't know. I may or may not, but I felt pretty confident with it. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think you've only just done it, and for you, like all my athletes are very well prepared for their races. I'm not sure if you kind of gathered that from talking to Christine, but we don't kind of wing it with whatever is going on in that week. You're like, oh shit, what am I going to race with? Yeah. Everyone is very well prepared, and you've been building to this event for, years really.
Yeah, this is my first full, so yeah, slowly getting there.
And do you have any goals? Do you do the Aaron Burge? It's like famous, the gold tier system of what you're going to do on the day. Like, what do you think? What are you aiming for? Do you want to talk about it, or are you still wigging out?
I don't have. I guess first goal is just to finish. Since it's my first Ironman, get through the whole race, cross the finish line. I train with TriDot, so it's got predicted times for my different splits, and I think I'll hit the bike split, which is like 6:48 or something like that. I hope I can be faster than that. My run split it has at like 5:20. If I run a 5:20 marathon, I'll be incredibly thrilled. That seems unlikely, but we'll see. I think all added up, it's like 13 hours something. So if I guess I'll say under 14 hours, I'll be pretty darn happy with that.
Yeah. And just to cross the finish line. Yeah. Just finishing the damn thing is huge, because a lot of people, one, can't even find the time to do that training, let alone absorb the training. So just getting to the start line, you're not sick, you're not injured, you haven't broken anything,
knock on wood,
you're almost there. Touch wood, I don't want to jinx you. Yeah, I'm so excited for you. I get so nervous when athletes do something big like that. It's your first Ironman. We've been working on nutrition for years now, and I feel like all of everything that we've done has led to this one day. So I spend the whole day like refreshing the tracker, freaking out if it stops or slows down or something. But I'm so excited to see how you go. And
you should
absolutely
be sleeping while I'm racing, Taryn, because that'll be, I don't know what I start at 7 a.m. my time. What's that, like 9 p.m. your time? You'll be going to bed. Yeah.
That's okay. I can, when I wake up, refresh the tracker, see how you're going, watch you through the last bit.
Gosh, that's so slightly demoralizing. Like, wow, you'll have had a whole night's sleep and I'll just still be running.
That is Ironman 101. It is a long day in the office.
Yeah. At this point, I'm kind of just ready to race because, like, it's been, a lot of months of long rides, long runs. I'm like ready to go. Be done with this.
Yeah. Yep. If you didn't feel like that, there'd be something wrong. Most people at this point are like, all right, I'm cooked. I'm done. I'm ready for this thing. Show me the start line. Let's go.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I'm excited to see how you go because you have been working on nutrition with me through the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program for 2 years, like pretty much to the day.
Yeah. A little longer, I think, technically. I think it was a little
September
longer.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And what's next on the cards? Can we talk about that, or are you not there yet? Like, let me get through this one thing first. But what's the big plan? Like, do you want to go to Kona? Do you want to do more longer distance stuff? Like, do you like 70.3 distance better? We don't know yet. But what do you want to do in 2025?
Yeah, I don't think I'm anywhere near fast enough to go to Kona. I mean, if like everyone else drowns on the swim, maybe, but like otherwise, no, I don't think that's happening. So, 2025 is kind of up in the air. I'm contemplating moving somewhere colder because I hate the heat. So,
wow.
Since I'm thinking about that, it's like I can't even think about, making concrete plans for races because I don't want to be like, oh, well, I planned to race here and now I've moved and now that's not a convenient race for me. So, yeah.
Where do you want to move? Like, are we talking like Canada, like cold?
Yeah, northeast, yeah. So, not quite to Canada. That would mean new doctor licensing and stuff, but yeah. Close. Yeah. Because I mean, the heat and I don't get along very well.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. So,
well, you could add Sunny Coast 70.3 to your race plan for 2025.
It's not that I wouldn't love to do it. It's just the cost and the time of getting there, Taryn. I've been to Australia and it's beautiful, but it takes like 2 days to get there.
Yeah. Yep. It takes a long time, but I've got your jet lag sorted so you don't get jet lagged. Stephen Kelly can attest to having no jet lag.
Okay. But yeah, I'm not committing to that one.
Okay. Damn it.
Might have to cheer you on from afar again.
That's okay. Well, we'll see how you go through Ironman Florida first. But do you have any preference for distance that you like doing at this point, this early in your triathlon career?
I mean, I would say I actually probably maybe like Olympic distance the best, but I like you said, I like to travel for races. I like going new places, and it kind of feels like if you're going to go through the effort of traveling and flying and packing up the bike and everything, like you should go do something bigger. Like I can't imagine, doing all that work for a sprint and it's done in, under 2 hours.
Then you can go sightseeing.
I guess, but then it's like, well, I could just go sightseeing and not have the hassle of all the triathlon gear. So I kind of feel like 70.3 is sort of that sweet spot of, like, okay, it's a big race. It was, it's worth training for and taking the time to travel for. We'll see what I think about the full distance, but I mean, definitely the long hours on the weekends are a lot.
They're a lot. Yeah, they're a lot. If you didn't feel like you feel now, then I'd probably say you haven't done enough. You haven't trained enough. You haven't trained hard enough. If you were like, I got this in the bag, I'm ready, it's so easy, you should feel a bit like, oh my gosh, I'm ready for this thing to come now. We're talking to you at that key point where
I'm ready.
You're a bit over it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's totally normal. But you still have a smile on your face and you're not asleep even though it's late at night. So it tells me that your nutrition on a daily basis is going all right.
Okay, yeah.
What is one of your favorite things you've learned about nutrition, or maybe something that's had the biggest impact on your life over the last couple of years?
I think probably the importance of recovery nutrition after workouts and races and the amount of nutrition needed. I mean, like, I knew it was important to eat something after you worked out, but the quantity and the, how soon it needs to be afterward, how, the macros, how much of it, like, I was definitely underdoing that, and like it hadn't been an issue because I wasn't doing bigger training sessions before we started, but I can definitely see that, if you hadn't intervened and I just kept on doing what I was doing for another few years, like it would have been a real struggle. Been like, why is this not working after my 3-hour bike ride? Yeah, that's big, I think. And day-to-day nutrition, but I still haven't. I know what to do there. I'm still working on the actual, eating the veggies and not the chocolate chip cookies at work. So, we're getting there.
We're getting there. It's a slow progress. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still progress though.
Yeah.
I love that you worked on your nutrition when you did so that you could survive this build to full distance. I think it's probably set you up the best for success, and so you haven't fallen into a hole because, like, just generally you as an eater, you're somebody that, loves sweet, is super fussy. No offense. I know you're not offended by that.
It's true, yeah.
And is somebody that is very commonly, and so many people do this, kind of striving to drop body fat all the time. So there's some sort of deficit sometimes, or trying to be in some sort of calorie restriction. I don't think you would have survived full distance training and racing if you had that way of eating that you had before, or even the mindset around nutrition before, because you would have absolutely fallen into a heap trying to drop some body fat and do full distance training. I just think it's a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, especially in terms of, I'm sure I would have gotten carbs in. They might not have been the best carbs, but I mean, cookies have carbs, pizza has carbs. But the fruits, the veggies, the protein, the other stuff that you should also eat. Yeah, that definitely would not have been eating all the stuff I should. Yeah, even though
we're getting there.
I know what I should eat, but we eat what we like to eat, not what we should eat.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Eating is way more than just putting, macros in, and it's, filling a pie hole or filling a gap, or I'm hungry, or I'm tired, or I'm really busy and I don't have time to eat. Like, food is like this huge, big melting pot of stuff. It's not just, in and out. If you were on a desert island and you could only have one sweet treat, candy thing forever, and you could only have one, what would you choose? Tough questions. Asking the tough questions here.
I mean, if it's a desert island, I'm guessing it's hot. So I'm gonna say ice
thought
cream.
process.
I'm a very logical person, Taryn. I mean, like, I love a warm chocolate chip cookie, but if it's 100 degrees on the island, I don't want that cookie anymore. So I'll say ice cream. Do you want like flavor specifics, or
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. We'll go Half Baked by Ben and Jerry's. It's a swirl of chocolate chip cookie dough and chocolate fudge brownie ice cream. So
wow.
It's got chunks of
Deep.
cookie dough, chunks of brownie, in with the chocolate and vanilla ice cream.
Oh, good. I love how committed you were to answering that question. Thank you for that. We're asking the
you're
hard
welcome.
questions on the TNA podcast.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I'm assuming there's a fridge on this desert island that, can keep my ice cream in. Otherwise, I'll have soup. But, yeah, that's what I'll go
Yeah, you're going to need a freezer. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, well, thank you for talking to us on the TNA podcast, Christine. I know it's late. You probably want to go to bed, but now you're probably thinking about ice cream. So apologies in advance for that.
I am. There is some in the freezer, but I won't go there.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Step away from the freezer. And we're all cheering you on for Iron Florida in a few short weeks. Maybe we'll get you back on to get your race report for Iron Florida to see whether you like that distance or not. But yes, I am packing my pants a little bit for you, but also incredibly excited to watch you do your first full distance event.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm super excited too.
Yay. Thanks, Christine.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Taryn.